Welcome to this video, my broskis. Today I have a game that apparently decided to drop a demo completely out of nowhere. No announcement, no warning, nothing that I saw at least, and I have been following this game pretty closely. Then suddenly, poof, a demo. Very nice, very exciting, and very heavy metal. Because this might genuinely be the most metal game that I have ever played. Almost every single frame looks like it could be slapped onto the cover of an album. And I'm of course talking about Slain 2. Now, Slain 2 is a side-scrolling hack-and-slash game, and the first thing that made me happy is that this is not another side-scrolling Souls-like. I just can't with those games anymore. I don't want to dodge, roll around every single enemy, memorize 17 different attack patterns, and then die because someone touched my ankle. This is simply not my jam. Slain 2, it still has some challenge to it, don't get me wrong, I died several times during the demo, especially against the boss, but the combat is far more straightforward here. You have light attack, a heavy attack, a dodge and a block. That is basically everything that you need to keep track of. Sure, there is a little bit more depth to it than that. There are a couple of combos like light attack, and then heavy attack, which absolutely destroys most regular enemies. You can also charge your heavy attack, slash upward, attack downward from the air, and do all those basic hack and slash things that you would expect. But it never becomes overwhelming, not a single time. You don't need a Bible next to you containing 50 different commands. You can actually run headfirst into combat and start chopping things apart. It is so goddamn nice. And especially when the heavy metal soundtrack is constantly pounding in the background while you run through a town where it is literally raining blood. Blood is dripping from the buildings, everything looks completely evil, and the music is blasting straight into your ears. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This game does not hold back with the metal theme at all. There are plenty of games that call themselves metal, but Slain 2 goes all the freaking way. When you defeat a boss, your victory emote is literally headbanging. I don't think it can get much more metal than that. Just listen to this for a moment. And remember, this is all in-game audio and footage. I haven't added anything to it. Pretty damn nice, right? Am I right? Huh? Now, story-wise, we play as a prince, but the real main character almost feels like the sword itself. The sword, it comes crashing into the prince's world because it is trying to stop its father from completely destroying everything. So now, the prince has to fight through demons, find a collection of artifacts, and eventually help that sword take down its father and save his own planet. Now, that said, I have not played the first Slain game, but I know that we continue the story of the sword. But I'm also not fully invested in all the lore or exactly how everything connects. But the short story presentation in this demo still managed to hook me. I want to know more about the sword, the prince, and where this whole thing is going. The writing is generally good, and the characters, they are quite interesting. But do know that there is no voice acting, so all the dialogue has to be read manually. But there isn't an overwhelming amount of it. What is here feels well written and actually adds something instead of constantly interrupting the action. You can also transform into a werewolf. I almost forgot to mention that, because why the hell not? We're apparently the last of the wolf knights, and by fighting enemies we slowly charge up our transformation. Once the meter is full, you press a button and turn into a completely unstoppable motherflipping beast. The game, it goes from regular hack and slash to absolute destruction. You rip through enemies, move faster, hit harder, and basically become impossible to stop for a short period of time. It is an excellent way of changing up the pacing, and honestly, playing as the werewolf was one of my favorite parts of the demo. Outside of the regular combat, there is also some platforming, light puzzling solving, and a couple of boss encounters. The demo, it gives us 2 proper levels, not counting the tutorial, and both of them feel extremely well designed. They're also slightly challenging. I'm not exactly a professional when it comes to side-scrolling hack and slash games, and I couldn't find any difficulty settings in this one either, but I still managed to finish it, which says that it's okay in terms of challenge. But the boss in this demo, it took me around 6 attempts, but every time I died, I understood a little bit more about what I was doing wrong. You need to dodge in certain attacks, block other ones, and occasionally use the parry mechanic. If you block at exactly the right moment, you can actually stagger an enemy, and a perfectly timed dodge also allows you to instantly counterattack. And some semi-elite enemies actually requires you to use these mechanics, but because the combat system is so easy to understand, it never feels impossible, not even close. It is challenging without becoming exhausting, and that is a very nice breath of fresh air. So yeah, my broskis, Slain 2 completely met my expectations. It looks incredible, the music is fantastic, the combat is easy to understand but still has some depth to it, and turning into a werewolf while heavy metal blasts in the background, it is simply hard to argue with that. Now, I want to know, what do you think about this completely over-the-top metal game? Share your thoughts down in the comments, and if you enjoy brutal little highlights just like this, remember to hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Over and out.